Hey everyone, in today's video I'm doing something a little bit different and we're actually going to be doing a tutorial on how to get LIDAR data and terrain files imported into Creative Golf 3D. Now I'm actually a relatively new user of Creative Golf 3D. I just bought it in December of 2024, a few weeks ago, and I've been playing around with it. And what I did notice is on the Creative Golf YouTube channel, they have a tutorial on how to build your own golf course, but the tutorial really starts after terrain files and LIDAR have been collected. So what I wanted to show is how you actually do that and import that into Creative Golf. So then from there, you can actually watch the tutorial videos and start making your golf course. So we're just going to jump into it here. The first thing you're going to need to do is obviously download the golf editor. This can be found on creativegolf.com. This is free. You don't actually need a license to Creative Golf itself to be able to access the editor, which I think is really nice that they're opening that up to the public. The next thing that you're going to want to do is go to USGS. Um, I just type in on Google USGS TNM, and the first result should be a national map.gov address. You're going to click on this. And no, my tutorial is going to be focusing on US courses. I'm not as familiar with how to download LiDAR data overseas in Europe, but in the US, we have some pretty good government resources that you can pull LiDAR and geographic information from, this website being the one that I use. So as an example today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to go to Como Golf Course. So over here in the search bar, I'm just going to type that in, and you can see my course comes up. This is in St. Paul, Minnesota. Um, if you've had the pleasure of playing golf in the Twin Cities, I imagine there was a chance for you to play this golf course because it's pretty popular with the locals here. So I thought this would be a good example to do. What we're going to do is up in the right-hand corner on this expand box, we're going to click that, and then we're going to select USGS image only. And there we can actually see a top-down satellite image of the golf course. Um, Now from here, what we're interested in is we're interested in collecting LiDAR data for the area that we're most interested in, which is just the golf course area here. So over on the left-hand side here, I'm going to check this box under data that says elevation source data, and it has LiDAR listed as one of the data types. So we're going to click on that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw an area that I'm interested in searching. So we're going to click on the extent button. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a box basically around the perimeter of the golf course. So that would be about here. This is also attached to a public park, so everything down here is not part of the golf course. This encompasses the full 18 holes. So once we've drawn our box, we're going to come over here and we're going to click Search Products. And this is basically searching all of the LiDAR collection that has been done at this golf course over the past few years. And as we hover over these, you can see different green boxes show up, showing different LiDAR captures that were done. So this LiDAR capture, it looks like, was done in 2016. There were 4 captures that basically covered the entirety of the golf course. If we continue scrolling down, you can see that there's other LiDAR captures that were made in 2024. So it doesn't really matter which captures you choose to use. I do suggest using all of the same year, obviously. And for the purposes of this tutorial, just for cleanliness sake, I'm going to use the ones from 2016 because there's just 4 nice LiDAR captures that were made in 2016. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on each of those captures. We're going to hit download and just click on all of them, and those will go to your downloads. Now, I've already done that, so I'm going to close out of this, but no, you basically just want to download all the LiDAR data from a particular year that you're going to base the course off of. And once you have that done, we're going to leave this page up. We're not going to close out of it because it's going to be nice for a reference later on. The second thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download a free surveying tool called QGIS. So you can go to qgis.org/download. It may prompt you to donate to this particular publisher. You don't need to do that. But once you're on this page, essentially all you need to do is select the operating system that you're using. So in our case, we're using Windows. We're going to download the Windows version and install that on our PC, which again, I have already done that. So once you have all of your LIDAR downloaded and you have QGIS, what we need to do is we actually need to combine the LIDAR files that we captured. So I'm going to open up QGIS, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So from the QGIS main page here, what you want is this toolbox over here with all of these different options. If you're not seeing this, you can go to View, and it should be under Tool Bars, or I'm sorry, under Panels, Processing Toolbox. And you're going to want to click the check box on there to basically have this toolbox come up. And once you have that, you're going to want to come over here to Point Cloud Data Management from the drop down, and you're going to select Merge. And from here, you can input those files that you downloaded. So I'm going to click on the ellipses there. We're going to click on Add Files. And I've already navigated to the page here, so I'm just going to select all of them and hit Open. These should probably be in your Downloads folder if you haven't moved them. But once we have all of our files selected that we downloaded, we're going to hit Run. And we'll give it a minute here. And basically what this is doing is it's spitting out all of those LiDAR files into a singular merged file. So you can watch the bar here. The loading bar is also going to be down below. And know this loading bar, it should actually go up to 100% twice. I believe the first load is basically to develop the image, the preview image, and then the second one is actually combining them. So this loading bar will go up twice, and once that's done, you'll see down below that it has finished, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to close out of this window here, and we can see our LiDAR here. From this image, though, it's rather difficult to see exactly where we are and understand our bearings, because this is data that's really meant for a computer to read in terms of depth. That was based off of light reflections that the LiDAR collection was using. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and in our browser under XYZ tiles, we're going to click on Google Satellite. And we're going to hit OK. And now basically what this will do is it's created another layer in our layers area here with now the satellite image. So I can choose to turn on and off certain layers in terms of visibility by checking the box. So now we can see here, if I flip back between these, we can see clearly here's the lake. And if I check that box, you can see that the lake is matching up with the LiDAR image. So that's great. But the problem that we have is now we have way, way too much satellite. We don't need all of this. We actually only need this region here that we're most interested in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the Google Satellite. I'm going to go down to Export, and I'm going to hit Save As. We're going to keep the format as GeoTIFF. We're going to uncheck Create a VRT. And then from the drop down, we're going to choose Default CRS EPSG 4326. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our layer, calculate from layer, and we're going to say merged. So basically this is saying I want you to crop um, this layer to basically the size of that merged LIDAR layer that we created. Now down here in terms of resolution, I'm going to click on columns and rows. And really what this is doing is saying, how many pixels I want um, down and across for this new file that I'm creating. Here for the file name, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the ellipses. And what I'm going to do is I am going to drop this in the Como Golf Course folder that I created and I put my LiDAR files in. And what I'm going to do is call this Como Satellite GeoTIFF file. We're just going to hit save. And you can name it whatever you want, but really it's just a cropped satellite view, and it's a layer here that we're creating within QGIS. So once that's done, we can actually now uncheck the Google Satellite um, layer, and you can see what's left over is just a cropped satellite image that is matched to the LiDAR that we have. So if I'm unchecking and checking this new layer that we created, that's all that's there. So we can actually, just to remove any confusion from the video at this point, we can remove the layer that was the Google Satellite layer. So now all we have is we have our merged LiDAR layer, and then we have the cropped Google Satellite GeoTIFF layer that we created. So at this point, we're ready to export the merged LiDAR that we created, as well as the GeoTIFF. We actually want to export this as a PNG file. So let's export our PNG first. What we're going to do is we're going to click on our cropped layer. We're going to go up to raster. We're going to go conversion, translate, convert format. And from here, under converted, I'm going to click the ellipses, and we're going to click save to file. And I'm going to save as a file type PNG. And again, we're going to put this in the Como Golf Course folder, and I'm going to call this Como Golf Course Satellite PNG, and hit save. And then we're going to hit run. And now it's basically exporting that cropped GeoTIFF file as a PNG file, which is an image format that Creative Golf can accept as an overlay, so then we can actually see where we're working within our golf course. So we'll give this a minute as it exports that, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we've closed out of that, and now you can see that it actually created a additional layer now. So if I uncheck that box, I uncheck this, now you can see it's created a PNG layer within our layers here. So again, to avoid confusion, we're going to now remove the GeoTIFF layer. So now I just have the PNG file, and then I have the LiDAR data here. Okay. So now our task is to export the LiDAR data. So I'm going to uncheck that box so I don't view the PNG file right now. We're going to right click on the merged LiDAR data. We're going to go down to export. We're going to save as. And in terms of our format, we're going to make sure that LAS/LAS point cloud are checked. We're going to click on the ellipses here. And again, I'm going to go to my Como Golf Course folder, and I'm going to call this combined Como LiDAR, and hit save. And again, you can name these files whatever you want. That's just what I typically name these. And then we're going to hit OK. And from here, we're going to give it a few minutes um, as it's basically converting that merged LIDAR data into a .las file that we're going to be able to import into Creative Golf. So we'll be back once this is done loading up. Okay, so now that our LIDAR file has exported, we can close out a QGIS. You could choose to save this if you want to. I am not going to do that. I'm just going to discard the project. And at this point, I'm now going to open up Creative Golf. I should clarify the Creative Golf editor is what I'm opening here. So once we have the editor open, I'm going to click Create a New Map. And the default here, I believe it is 2048. That's fine for us. Know that our golf course is not quite 2,000 meters wide and high. You could come back and play with these numbers if you're finding that there's a cropping issue. But in general, I don't find that there's much of an issue having some extra land around the course. So we're going to hit OK. And what this is going to do now is just generate a flat surface for us. And you can see it's a floating surface here. And it's big enough that there's basically a skybox around it. And as you build your course, the idea here is the player is really only going to play within the bounds of a part of the box. So in the distance, they're just going to see this. And what I tend to do on my courses is just put some trees around the outer layers of the course, or the outer edges, I should say, to kind of block off the player from going too far out of bounds. But with all that said, what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to File. We're going to go to Import Surface. We're going to go to our folder where we saved all of our files. And the file that's ending in copc.las is generally the file that I'm going to use. So I'm going to click on that, and we're going to hit Next. So it's now loading up that file that we had exported out of QGIS. Okay. So once our LiDAR data has loaded up, what we're going to do immediately is hit the center button, which moves that LiDAR data into the middle of our playing field. So you can see here, our LiDAR is definitely wider than it is tall. Our LiDAR is about 1,700 meters tall and 1,200 meters wide. So what you could do is you could do all that process over again and possibly even just put in a size of, say, 1,300 wide and 1,800 tall when you're creating your file if you want less excess area around the course. But I think this is fine. I'm going to leave it as is. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to import that satellite image that we cropped. So I'm going to, under Preview Image, hit Select. And then we're going to go to our folder again that has all of our files in it. And you can see here, Como Golf Course satellite PNG was saved here. So we're going to select that. We're going to give it a second to load up. And then once it's had a second, this box should become available to be checked. So there, it's loaded up. I'm going to check that box and I'm going to hit OK. It is going to force you to name this. Otherwise, it's not going to save the file. So let's do that now. We're going to call this Como Golf Course and hit OK. Okay. And there we go. Now, the edges of the map will just look kind of pixelated because there's no image there, right? We only cropped our image to the areas of the map that we're actually planning to build the golf course in. So I have quite a bit of excess land. I might actually redo this at a later time and choose a smaller surface area for the file I've created here. But what we want to do at this point is make sure that our LiDAR actually carried through correctly and just do a double check. And what I like to do is look at water on the course, because generally speaking, where there's water, there should be a dip. So let's go over here to the lake. You can see there's some trees here, but the LiDAR data should match up. And as I look down on it, I can see that there is a ridge basically following the line of the lake. So let's go over to this water over here. And again, I can see that ridge is following the lake. So that means that my LiDAR data did come through correctly. I'm not as concerned about some of those trees that look flat because um, given the day that the LiDAR was collected, that may change versus the satellite image that's being pulled into QGIS. So now we have our satellite image. We've checked to make sure that it pulled in correctly. So now it's really just a matter of creating our holes. Um, so what I like to do is from here, I hit tab and flip back and forth between the golf course and the satellite image that's overlaid on top of it. And I will say Creative Golf, their YouTube channel on the playlist, does show some other tips of like adding depth shading. I've never really found that I needed to have that. I think just having the satellite overlaid has been good enough for me. Um, Another tip I'll say is, generally speaking, you want to be in the top-down view when you're drawing objects. Something that was difficult for me to figure out when I originally started was how to delete things that I had just made. Because you can see here, if I start drawing lines, like it shows you how to do in the tutorial, and I hit finish, I've drawn an object there, a green or whatever it may be. Um, if I'm in the top-down view, I can see everything that I've drawn. If I'm from the side view, I can't see that object that I just drew. It's not there. Um, so it's important to be doing this from the top-down view, and I believe what you can do is in your settings change, so then from the side view you can also see objects by default, and I find it makes sense to just be able to see um, things I've actually drawn from the top-down view. Um, Now, once you actually, let's just, for example, draw a cart path here. So we'll go up again to the material curve and say I just draw um, a really simple cart path that's going across that hole. Not that it should be there. Um, we'll make this asphalt. Hit OK. And then what I'm going to want to do is come up to my texture manager. And from here, I want to select what material I want asphalt to actually be. So we'll hit gravel, we'll hit OK. Okay, that's fine. Now I can see that the asphalt has been created. Okay, and if I draw more objects, say I draw another cart path here. So again, just draw another cart path. We'll hit OK. That object is not going to show up, and you can see if I switch to the side view, I can see that first cart path I drew, but I can't see the second one that I just put an outline on until I come up here and I hit update map and I hit OK. So that's just another tip I wanted to throw out, because I think that that's probably like the two things that made me stuck at first, is not understanding that I wasn't able to see objects from the side view. And you can change that in the settings, but I think that this is actually a really good way to do this, frankly, because now I can see those objects, right? And I don't necessarily want all these lines. Like this line here is, I'm just designating that that's a green over there. And you can right click on things here and you can delete objects, you can redraw them, and especially when you're creating holes and you're outlining them, I found that I need to right click on them, go to edit, and then you can actually edit the object. So if I hit tab again, I can see my satellite image, and really all you need to do is just go along the satellite image, create objects, create terrain in the way that they're showing you how to do in the video. So I'll link to Creative Golf's tutorial from here, but I just want to throw this video out again because I wasn't seeing the tutorial video on how to get terrain into Creative Golf, and this did take me a day or two to figure out. So thanks for watching. I may do more videos on Creative Golf in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next video.